weeks we've been talking about the prophet Elisha. Now we're moving on about 20 years after Elisha to the prophet Jonah. And Jonah, you can read the story for yourself. It's in the book of Jonah, which you can find. It's actually easier if you go to the New Testament and go backwards, because Jonah is one of those small books at the very end of the Old Testament. So you can read the whole story for yourself there. Now, to tell the story today, what you're going to need is you're going to need a bowl of water, a cup that looks remotely like a whale. Spoiler alert. I put an eyeball there with a permanent marker, something that floats, and a few things that sink. I have kidney beans. Okay? All right, you can pause the video whenever you want to get those items. All right, so I'm going to tell the story line by line, and I'll show you what to do for each line. Jonah was a prophet, so you can look up to heaven. One day, God told Jonah that he should go to Nineveh and tell them that God would judge their wickedness. Okay, so imagine going to the scariest, nastiest place you can imagine. How would you feel? Make a scared face. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and got into a boat sailing in the opposite direction from Nineveh. Nineveh, he tried to go to Tarshish. So he got into the boat, he and some other sailors, and off they went. And all of a sudden, a storm blew. Now blow your boat. And it was much scarier than this. And it blew and blew until Jonah said, they said, "What's happening? What's happening?" And they said, well, Jonah finally said, "I'm kind of running away from God." And they said, "Okay, we can do this, we can do this." They kept rowing, they kept trying, but it didn't work. And finally, Jonah said, "You've got to throw me overboard." So they threw Jonah overboard. And as he was sinking to the bottom of the ocean, all the way to the bottom, it says he went to the very depths of the ocean. A huge whale or great fish picked him up in his mouth. And Jonah ended up inside the stomach. There's Clarence the whale. You don't even have to look for him this week. And Jonah, inside the whale, prayed to God. He thanked God. He actually wasn't begging God to get him out of there. He thanked God for saving his life. He knew that God had saved him. And at the very end of the story, the whale vomited Jonah back up on shore. Catch him. Catch him. Ah! I didn't catch him. There we go. And I'm not going to cover this with vomit, but you can only imagine what a wild and crazy story this was, that God used such an unusual way to teach Jonah a lesson. You can't run away from me. I am asking you to tell the Ninevites that they are going to be destroyed, and it is time for you to go. So that's our story. Now, for our craft, you can use the same cup that you had before. I'm drying it out, and you're going to need a clothespin, and I drew a face on it, a Jonah scared face, and I taped it to a string. It's about 1 foot long, and I taped the other end to the inside of the whale. And I also made a tail, and this whale is red because the Mediterranean whales are red. Actually, that's not true. It's just because I have a red cup. And so here is the whale, and here is his tail. I didn't put it on before because I knew it was going to get wet. All right. Okay. So you have your whale. Now it's kind of a game. See if you can catch Jonah in the whale. Ah, I could do this. There, finally. Thankfully, the whale did a better job than I did. So there's your craft. For your snack, I'm encouraging you to play with food. Just a little bit, parents, don't worry. So get a circular fruit. And in this case, the biggest circular fruit in our house was a grapefruit. And I cut a little bit out of the inside, and I made the half of another piece of grapefruit into a tail. And I used a grape with some icing tube things that I had to make Jonah inside the whale. So be creative. You're not going to have the same things I have in my house, and you can try your own ideas for this. All right, that's the craft. For the memory, we actually are going to do a bit of a game for the memory, and it's based on the passage from Psalm 139, 7 to 12. So I'm going to read that to you first. I want you to just listen to it. It says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light will become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you." So you can't run away from God. It's impossible. And doesn't mean that he's going to come chasing you down. It means that you get to be with him. You get to be in his presence, and no matter what. And for the younger kids, you could just do the first part of this verse. For the older kids, see if you can do the whole thing. It's several verses long, actually. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do hide and seek with this verse. And Katrina is going to actually hide using the descriptions in this verse. So come on out with me.
Katrina.
Okay, Katrina, so where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light will become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. Okay, so that is a beautiful passage from Psalm 139, and you can act that out. You can find all kinds of creative ways to hide, to do this passage, so you can help you remember it, and also to see what beautiful words were written there. All right, for the game, it is called Simon Says Not. So instead of doing what Simon says, Katrina is going to, or you, when you play this, are going to need to do the exact opposite of what you're asked. Jonah was asked to go to Nineveh to preach, but he went the other direction. So we're going to just have a little fun with that. Okay, so Katrina, go to that side of the yard. Oh my goodness, she's going the opposite direction. Katrina, touch your right elbow. Katrina, reach as high as you can. All right. So that's a game you can have fun with. You can add Simon Says to it. You can take out the Simon Says, and then it makes it like 2 times harder, and see how that works for you. Now, we can joke about that, but in reality, God asks us to follow him even when things seem scary or hard, or we don't understand what God is asking us to do. He says, I want you to follow me. I don't want you to run in the opposite direction. So I want you to think about some things maybe that God has asked you to do that you've done, and maybe some things that you haven't done. And ask God to help you to follow him this week and always. So this is part 1 of our Jonah story. Part 2 is next week. So right now, we are leaving Jonah on the beach, having just been spat out by the whale. Find out next week what will happen next. Bye.